everyone, and welcome to PitchIT Live. We're streaming from our various social media platforms, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, ConnectWise Tips and Tricks, and ConnectWise Boss. My name is Adam Belansky. I am CEO and founder of Sierra Pacific Group, and some of you might know me as the ConnectWise Boss. We help technology business leaders leverage ConnectWise products to get the most out of their systems with proven best practices, and we do it quickly and efficiently so that you can grow and scale your technology business. We've done thousands of implementations, optimizations, and custom projects, and we have the answers. We've done the hard work. I've learned the hard way, right? So you don't have to, like I did, right? So we are here on PitchIT Live, and I'm going to bring on my co-commander.
Co-commander.
Co-pilot. Sean, how you doing, man?
I'm great. I am unfortunately, my video is still not working. It'll be working by next week, I'm sure. I am at the airport. It probably sounds a little echoey because I'm at the airport coming back from CompTIA ChannelCon. My flight was delayed, so I'm hanging out in one of those phone booth things.
Pod, is that what you're in?
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's a very small room. There's nothing on the walls for acoustic, and things just reverberate. So I just don't understand, but it's great.
Yeah.
All is good though. It was a good week, great show. CompTIA is amazing. People that are part of it better start being part of it because it's worth it.
Yeah, nice.
How are you, my friend?
I apologize I was not out there. It's been a busy week in between a bunch of different traveling, and we are together next week in Denver.
We are.
Nation Evolve. So I'm looking forward to that. So you were bouncing around you were in Chicago you're in Denver next week with me.
Yep.
So a lot of things that we're doing. So we're here for PitchIT. Quick, let's try to get in 30 seconds. PitchIT, what is it?
So PitchIT, simply put, it is Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome on steroids. Instead of being 2 men enter, 1 man leaves, it's 18 vendors, startup vendors enter. 3 will leave as finalists, and then ultimately 1 will end as the champion. Now, it is really about assessing vendors that come into this that can complement the ConnectWise community by being products that are actually useful for the partners. So all these vendors have a solution. They're all solution providers for MSPs at the end of the day, and they integrate or they play along well with the ConnectWise community in our economy. So, but yeah, they're going through a 60-week accelerator program now, as everybody knows. Where every single week they have workshops with industry leaders that teach them about various tasks, various responsibilities like M&A, sales and marketing, integrations, whatever it may be. They've been going through this for the last 12 weeks, 13 weeks now. We're coming up to the end of the preliminary though. They have the preliminaries this end of the month actually. We'll be making some announcements soon on the preliminaries and when they're going to be held and how they're going to be held. That's pretty exciting news coming up. Can't say anything yet, but you'll know very soon.
Wait, sweet. So there's going to be 3 finalists announced, and then we're actually going to do a reveal here online live. I think it'll begin next month. So we'll definitely keep everybody posted for that, and then we actually get to do a whole nother interview with them. I'm sure we got some really cool stuff involved in there. Maybe we even get a little product demo on each of those, and they can share their screen and go through that. So definitely, I'm really excited for this. And it really keeps to what Jason McGee, which was just selected as top
disruptor, executive disruptor.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So that's pretty awesome.
I mean, realistically, these promises really go around that. You can't always. You hear the line all the time of "This is how we've always done it." And that's not, that's great in some cases. Maybe if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? But if you can make enhancements and you can improve, that's what it's all about, and it requires disruption at times. And you'll see, and again, come back to the 3 promises. We put out 3 promises saying, make it easier to do business with, invest even more in partner growth, and then more innovations faster. And PitchIT emulates all 3. I say it every time you ask us. It emulates all 3. Of course it does. And so yeah, that's what this is, and that's what we do. And we're staying the course. And yeah, I'm excited about everything. Actually, this gets every week is actually more fun for me. So this is good.
It is. It is. And I'm going to talk about this point, more innovation faster, just because I think that ConnectWise, I've been with ConnectWise since 2006, installing software, having it in my own MSP business. I've been around the tool a long time. And I will say that, this is an initiative that I think that we're all seeing being working internally with ConnectWise, consulting with them and helping them, mature their product, develop their product and innovate really. And I think that it's hard to, the amount of innovation that's going on because it seemed like ConnectWise has been such a stagnant software tool for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard some of those things over the past couple months, and I'm like, you haven't seen this going on, you haven't seen this going on, and I think they're a little bit disconnected on that. And I think that I'm seeing a lot of the traction. I'm seeing a lot of this new ASIO platform shift into that.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to get faster and faster on the innovation side. And I'm really, really excited. So I've seen basically 10 years of problems in ConnectWise basically be solved in the past 6 months. The calendar syncing, the projects module, moving everything to ASIO, making it faster, IT Boost getting a speed boost, and really kind of adapting some of those newer technologies in the platform add-ons. And by the way, we're going to do some demos and some things on here with some of the executives at ConnectWise, I imagine.
Yep.
So I just, I want to make sure that the audience understands that. And because that's why I'm really excited about this PitchIT. I'm excited about ConnectWise. I'm excited about the ecosystem. And I'm excited about bringing on my next guest. I don't know the next guest at all, so this is completely new. I'm going to welcome Paul Pond from Notify Technology.
Hi, how are you? Good morning or good afternoon. Hey. Sean, it's good afternoon, and Adam, it's good morning.
Absolutely. What's up, Paul? Good seeing you again, twice in a week, man.
Yeah, that's amazing. After 12 weeks, right?
I know, right?
I love it. Well, that's all right. There's a lot. 17, participants. It's pretty hard to juggle the schedule. I got to give Adam a lot of credit of sitting through hosting 17. It definitely deserves, a round.
It's fun.
It's been next week, I think is the last week. So it's been really fun. So yeah. So Paul, Notify, let's start off with you. Who are you, man?
Who are we? We are a company based out of Ohio. And I was talking to Sean about this earlier in the week. Focused on delivering, mobility management to MSPs. We basically, over the years, have realized that most MSPs do nothing with mobile management, and we trying to figure out why. We spent some time analyzing it, talking to a lot of MSPs, and basically realized there were some challenges that they saw, and being very busy, they didn't really put a lot of effort into it. So what we decided to do was really listen to them, listen to what their issues were, and then package up a solution for them. Our feeling is, look, they're managing thousands of endpoints out there, okay? And each one of those endpoints is probably a mobile device associated with it, and they're not doing anything with that.
Yeah.
And we really think that, the excitement for us is that here's MSP, they've got customers, they've got endpoints, and they're doing nothing with these mobile devices. They're right under their nose and their customer base.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, isn't this a real opportunity for a new revenue stream without a whole lot of effort? Kind of reach into that. Doesn't require huge marketing investment on their part. It's more of, ask or listen, because I believe, as we've talked to a lot of these MSPs, their customers are coming to them anyway, and then they're kind of rushing around trying to figure out a solution. Now, for us, what's been interesting is we did the integration into Manage, and that really was a real hot button for anybody we talked to. So any ConnectWise MSP out there, and we said, hey, we talked to them about our solution. I think one of the number one issue was integration. Number two was support.
Nice. So now, looking at this slide here, you started out with the your career with a bachelor's degree in computer engineering and a master's in computer science.
Yeah, well,
That's
it's interesting. I thought I was going to go down the development route in my career, and ended up really going into more product marketing, product management,
yeah.
you know, entrepreneuring, starting a business. Ended up in the Bay Area, sold a company way back, and ended up in the Bay Area, and that's where I live today for many years. And though our headquarters is in Notify is in Ohio.
Oh,
Great
okay.
place. Yeah.
So San Francisco Bay Area. I'm from Fresno, so that's where our headquarters.
I live in San Mateo in
Okay,
the Bay
there
Area.
we go.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag because for myself, I actually was accepted into San Jose State, and which is Silicon Valley kind of school, and as computer science, I did orientation there, and I was like, I'm done. I'm out. So I did the whole micro thing and said, I'm going to go create my business and start it. And, then, I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
Right? So kudos to you, man. That's that's a hard degree. That's a lot of math. So,
You know what? You're right. Back then, it was every semester was another math course. It was just math. And the funny thing of it is really never ended up using. The sad part is you never ended up using most of that math.
yeah.
Even in the programming days back then, what was exciting was back when I was in school, the C programming language was just becoming interesting to the world
Yep.
out there. From Fortran, in engineering, we
Yeah.
studied Fortran, and then, but toward the end of my degree, C programming, Unix, all of that started creeping into the schools. And then the PC was invented, and the world has never been the same. Yeah,
Now you're dating yourself. So,
yeah, I am.
so,
A little
so
tiny bit, a little tiny bit.
yeah. So on that slide, it talked about, creating a BlackBerry type phone and then so evolving your career. And then basically suddenly you became into, this Notify technology. Can you kind of just, were you in
Notify is
MSP?
mobile. I mean, we're all about mobile. We started with, our focus has been mobile device management. Okay. We believe that, along with other companies out there, that, we're in as I put in my bio, we're in a mobile first world now. When companies write applications, where are they starting with? Mobile devices. And you look at the number of mobile apps that are out there. So when we started it in the MDM space, most of the functionality was focused, on more of the security, the type of BlackBerry enterprise service functions, wipe the device, lock the device, things like that. But I have to say, more recently over the years, applications have really dominated the mobile market. Being able to take advantage of all the mobile apps, distribute them, update them, manage them in that sense. So yeah, that's where we focus. The other big topic that I talked about before was the whole issue of company-owned devices versus bring your own device. Okay, what we call personally owned devices. How do you manage those two are really important, controversial, different. And again, MSPs are challenged with that. They have customers that basically are facing a dilemma. We have personally owned devices, we have company owned devices. What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? And that's what that's our role, to go in there, and we probably spend most of our time educating. Um, as I was saying with Sean on the previous session, MSPs are really good at managing, desktops, laptops, servers, things like that. But mobile's different. Mobile's different. Mobile's not dominated by Microsoft or Cisco or any of those, typical packages that are used or devices. Um, the mobile world is dominated by Apple and Google, right? Apple iOS, Google Android, and that's different, and it's a different world.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the barriers to some of the MSPs entering, into that area is the fact that it is a little different. They're going to have to take a little bit of time to learn something new. And as we all know, they they're they never have enough time, bandwidth, people, whatever. After 3 years of working with them every day, I began to really understand what I call the nature of the MSP beast. So,
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So you're really all about, mobile RMM, and it's really. I also have to ask the question, because the security is a big concern, right? So you
absolutely.
deal with a mobile RMM, and is it policy management, those type of things on these? Is it more than just the iPhones, Androids? Is it also the tablets, I'm assuming?
No, we focus on iOS Well, yeah, iOS and Android tablets,
Okay.
smartphone tablets. We do the policy, security. We do all of that. In fact, you mentioned the term mobile RMM. We actually trademarked that. After about a year of talking to MSPs, one of the things that they said was that their early experience with MDM vendors was fairly negative for a variety of reasons, whether it's overkill of the product, cost, don't know how to work with MSPs,
Okay.
pricing, all of that. So they said, why don't you come up with a different name for it? And so we kind of took a while, but we went out there and we said, okay, you know what RMM is for those types of devices. How about something for mobile? And so we coined the term mobile RMM, trademarked it, got it through the patent office, and basically trying to use that as an education angle on the difference between traditional RMM and RMM focused for mobile devices.
Cool. Cool. So just to understand it a little bit further, mobile RMM, I think that's really cool. Is there remote control ability built in within your app, or no?
On the remote control, so that is really a great question. So what we found out is that most of the MSPs were already using um, products like
Control.
ConnectWise Control, exactly, or others. I won't mention it, but so no, we decided that we made that an option. We teamed up with another company. So 90% of the time when we talk to an MSP, they have a product they may not even be aware of that deals with mobile because they're using it all the time for desktop access, laptop access. And most of the time it's like, hey, I don't want to sell you something that you already have. Let me tell you how, let me get you to take a look at that product and use it in the mobile sense. So, yes, we can, but most of the time they already have a product. And
Gotcha.
so
Okay.
we need to sell it to them again.
Okay. Cool. So I'm an MSP business, and I'm going to use the Sean Lardo reference. Hey, I'm an MSP business. How does this you know do you have an onboarding? What's the play here? Is it just like buying RMM services for desktops and so forth?
No, it's a little bit more, and I'll use the term white glove. we we have to we basically, because of the fact that this is something different. Okay, we've got to look at each MSP and see if they have any background at all in dealing with mobile devices. Some have, some haven't. So if they haven't, then we're going to spend a little bit more time training them, working with them. So we start off, it kind of a series of sessions with them where we, demo the product, get them on board, or get them to agree, to an
Yeah.
agreement, to a partner agreement, as we call it. And then we start a process of, training, educating, all of that with them. And it's a big investment on our part. It's not like tossing some licenses saying, hey, good luck. Each MSP gets their own dedicated multi-tenant instance. Okay, so they're managing their instance. We teach them how to manage it, maintain it, add organizations to it, and there's no one else on it, so they don't have to worry about privacy issues or hey, we're dumping you on a cloud that's got 100 other vendors or 100 other customers or MSPs on it. No, in fact, they even name it. So if your MSP was called CNET, the URL to the platform would be cnet.mobilermm.com. So
Cool. So it's white label to a degree.
it is.
So
The
okay.
URL is white label. Exactly.
So understanding that, yeah, it's a little bit of white label. There's a interface that they, technicians, engineers log in, or MSP technology business owners log into. So what's the integration look like in the ConnectWise? Does it go into manage? Does it integrate into automate? Like what does that look like?
It's a great question. We originally, when we started, we kept thinking that, this is our kind of a mobile RMM tool. Maybe Automate would be a good place to do it. And we decided most of the MSPs we talked to actually kind of convinced us to integrate into Manage. And we integrated into Manage, so you get some benefits out of that. One, definitely in the billing. All right, that was a hot button for MSPs with billing. Number two was being able to get the information for trouble ticketing. And the other one is being able to see. One of the problems they had is they couldn't see all the mobile devices that are out there, right? They're not in Automate. And so we push that information,
Yeah.
that device information into Manage, so they can actually, in a way, I use the term single pane of glass, but they can actually see everything that they have out there that their customer has for the first time. And basically, the information that we push in there gives them a good idea, for the trouble ticket, the device type, the OS. There's about 8, 9, 10, 15, items that we push into it, push into Manage. And by the way, that's automatically updated every day. So as they onboard people into their their platform, or I'm sorry, as we onboard people into RMM, that information gets pushed out into Manage.
Nice, nice. Oh, okay. So I'm just thinking about RMM, and it's in particular like automate, and it synchronizes to manage, right? And
Right.
I'm thinking about agreements, and I'm thinking
Right.
device counts. So some people bill by device, and then it automatically updates the agreements. And yours does similar things.
Exactly.
Where, okay, cool.
Exactly. And that's a hot button. I mean, again, like I said, if you look at our differentiators out there from any of the other MDM providers, the integration, I believe we are the only one that actually took the time, effort, energy to integrate into Manage. Some have said they do,
Man,
but I
that's
can't.
music to my ears. That is music to my audience on all these platforms, and just I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not integrated in with billing and make it simplified for billing, and you're a vendor in the marketplace in the ConnectWise, and you're integrated to ConnectWise some way, find a way to bill out efficiently on agreements. That is the key. I know if I'm an MSP business, which I was, first thing we looked at, is it integrated with ConnectWise? Yes. How does it integrate with ConnectWise? Does it affect financing? Because I'm not bean counting or paying somebody on my team to go bean count.
Right.
So, Paul, really kudos to you on that particular aspect, because that is something I just needs to be very clear, even in this PitchIT program, that integrating with the agreements and financial aspects is a time saver when it comes to administrative costs, which is what we want, in the IT Nation Evolve community. We want to manage our, administrative cost, because there's only a certain percentage we want to hit in the target, and that's where it really blows up. So sorry, it's a little tangent.
I really appreciate that, because
Yeah.
we were new to the MSP world, and so we were trying to learn what were the things that some of the other vendors out there weren't doing. That was definitely number one. Number two was things like monthly billing, and license management, being able to distribute. A lot of vendors out there provide, hey, you got to have a minimum purchase and all of that. And look, let's face it, MSPs have customers of all different sizes, right? MSPs might have one customer that has 5 mobile devices, then 50 or 10 or 15. So they want to be able to take, a bulk number of licenses and distribute them out however they want. And that's actually, the vehicle we gave them, without trying to nickel and dime on, oh, here's some minimum, per customer, per organization, and all of that. Um, And so those are the kind of things that have given us a lot of advantage over other vendors out there. That I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't really think that most of the competition out there at the higher end is really focused on MSPs because they require a set of features that typically a end user, enterprise user doesn't need.
So
Or
let's talk about that. So you said that I mean, you mentioned you kind of catered and like loved everything so far. It sounds like, right?
yes,
Um, I know when I was in the phone space, the VoIP space, we were doing MVNO. And in order to do MVNO, you had to be at certain thresholds to make it worth your while because you had to deal with a vendor that came with a carrier like AT&T or Verizon or whatever, right? And they would have thresholds before you actually made any kind of you're required to buy X to do something, or else you're paying top dollar. So are you leaving it a la carte for the MSPs? They have no threshold.
no. What the way we do our I think you're asking a licensing question.
Yeah, like a consumption. Or yeah, are you requiring, or is it a consumption? Like, is it based on consumption?
We start them out on a what we did is we've gone down to the smallest possible package that we can. We start them off at 50 licenses, 50 devices, for $125 a month. Okay.
Nice.
And yeah, and again, as we get into that pricing, where did we come up with that? How did we come up with that? Well, your average price for device management could be in that $4, $5, $6 range. So, it doesn't leave them any money at the current prices today. It leave them any margin, I should say.
Right.
So the balance that we had to figure out, and this is an interesting one from some of the sessions, was we needed to get the price down low enough so that there wasn't this big dollar entry point, right? We figured $100, 100 and a quarter, and at the same time give them the ability to double that, triple that from a margin standpoint, and then add a service on top of it. So it can be a moneymaker for them, okay, with decent margin, and still be under, some of the big enterprise packages that are out there. I think our big value add is for that little amount of monthly money, the amount of support that we'll give them, that they won't get from anybody else. And we know
Right.
that for a fact because a lot of the MSPs have been very gracious and come back and said, "Hey, look, you guys probably provide the best support we have of any." I've actually had a few of them tell me that we provide the best support they've got from any of the products that they have. And that's a real compliment, Sean. I mean, now I don't know if we can keep that up forever, but
Sure.
I got
That's
to
not
tell you, right now, we definitely are going to keep it up because we want as many happy, successful, growing MSPs as we possibly can. And
sure.
that gets back to that whole issue of, it takes time. That I think the our greatest challenge is just the time it takes to get them, up, running, and growing. It's definitely a process in and of itself. Yeah.
So this takes me to you said something that's really telltale here, right? Um, Scalability. Like you said, you want to be keeps up forever, right? Which makes sense because if it's one to one with techs helping them, that's not scalable. So looking at your onboarding process, looking at your engagement with the partners, how much do they really need you after it's done? Is this like is
Mhm.
this where they're going to need constant involvement with you guys, or how, you get through onboarding, then what?
It's really interesting. It really depends. I think over time they will come to us for, learning to use. We get them. We start them out, with basic, enrollment of an Android, iOS device and app management, things like that. But over time, as they expand their knowledge, they run into things that they need help with, or they run into anomalies, or they run into things where, Apple or Google or Android make changes and then don't tell us, and then we discover them from our customers who run into them. It's an ongoing. I will say the whole education process and all that, the majority of it is front end loaded. Once
Yep.
we get them going, and then as they grow, then they become experts in it. A lot of them will go in there and train, uh, the initial person, and then eventually they may come back and ask us to train some other folks, or they'll do train the trainer, that type scenario. Uh, but yeah, eventually, a lot of this does become routine. It allows them, to scale as well. Um, but again, it's new. The difference is that they've been doing the traditional RMM for years. Now, mobile is different. So now they're learning for the first time things about Android for Enterprise, the Apple Business
Sure.
Manager, things
But
like
even
that.
with that though, that's a little bit, that is a long game of education because it's never going to stop that. I mean,
Yeah,
because there's always going to be updates, integrations, there's always going to be enhancements. There's also, I don't know, yeah, I'm more curious, MSPs, they think about this in a way of what product gets me to market fast with very little obstruction, right? Because I'm already busy doing my 10,000 other things. That's always the question when I look at products, right? Like, what can I implement, make money off of, and not overwhelm my team? So, when we talk about that, it's how does your offer, or how does the product fit into in the scheme of that? Like what should they expect from you? Like how much should they expect from themselves, workload wise? That's the main points.
I agree. That's a really good point. What we find is that in many cases, the most successful launches is where the owner will designate one to be, the leader of the package, the platform, and from there, it gets somebody dedicated to it.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to do it on a part-time basis, that's hard. So a lot of times when we get into these smaller MSPs, we have to have a lot of patience with them, because sometimes the owner, or one of the principals is trying to do everything right, manage all the products. So it's a little bit trickier. It gets a little
Sure.
bit easier as they get a little larger organization, where they'll have their help desk manager, who's managing some of the products, get involved. And at that point, our training is focused. Otherwise, sometimes we have to go back, train, retrain. It's somewhat inefficient. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Okay. That's fair. So, when you talk about pricing and margins and whatnot, right? And we're white labeling, they're able to, so is it a consumption model in that case, and they can add margin onto the cost, right?
Yeah. Yeah, typically, our price to them is pretty low. It
Mhm.
allows them, they can easily double, triple our licensing, and then in some cases, they'll sell a managed service on top of the licensing to their customers, and it depends on their customer. Some customers want to share some of the responsibility and support, and others don't. And so there may be a couple of different packages that they would come, put together and offer. Some will embed it into their overall, hey, we're going to support on an individual basis a PC, a laptop, and now we'll add a mobile device, things like that. It varies. I've seen maybe about a half a dozen different, bundling strategies from MSPs in this area.
Got it. Okay. So, and thinking about all this too, what would you say are the big, two or three takeaways from what you guys do that's beneficial to the partner? What would you say the partners say? Two to three benefits.
I think we're here to help. MSPs are always looking for new sources of revenue, and our message has been, there is one, I think, potentially right there, uh, and it's your customers' mobile devices. You haven't been doing much with them. Maybe you've had some bad experiences with other vendors. We'd like to, we'd like you to take another look. We'd like to, be your, mobile RMM partner. We'd like to get you into the game where you can make additional revenue for managing the mobile devices. The other big thing is an education. Early on, we realized that a lot of MSPs and their customers, uh, thought that because they're supporting personally owned devices, there wasn't any need for this. And to the contrary, it absolutely a big mistake, because what they're not thinking about is what happens when you got company information, email applications, and on a personally owned device, you're not doing anything with it. Well, you're exposed. I mean, if there's any kind of compliance in your environment, in your business, one, you're working against that. You got an issue there. Number two is, how about on just very simple things? Employee leaves. Employee loses the device. Okay. How do you protect the employee from malware? Do you have any kind of position on that? And so all we put together a whole learning process to educate the MSP and help them educate their customer that they need to worry about BYOD. They need to worry about personally owned devices, and they need to do something. And the most important part is they can do it, and it won't be that expensive. I mean,
Yeah.
at the back of this whole thing is, look, the customer doesn't want. MSPs are already fighting with cost control with all their tools, right? So they're trying to figure out how to get more efficient with the tools, cut their costs down, get their margins up. Hell, I don't want to be the bad guy in this thing. I want to be able to help them out. At the same token, I want to show them that there's a greenfield opportunity that doesn't require them spending a ton of money in marketing and all of that, because it's right under their nose. They just need to ask, and in some cases, their customers are coming back to them saying, hey, I have an issue. What do you recommend? What do you do? And then that's when, guess what? That's when they go out to the ConnectWise marketplace, see our tile, and then give us the call. Okay. So it can be that way instead of proactive. We get I would say a majority of leads that we've gotten to this year have been in the reactive space, where their customers are basically going to them saying, hey, I've got too many devices. I don't know how to handle them. I've got an insurance policy that requires me to do something with mobile. I'm in the medical area, for whatever reason, a variety of reasons out there. Hey, we need to do something. What do you got? What do you recommend? And
Nice.
they don't know. They don't. Then
Cool.
they start searching for an answer. Right?
For sure. So Paul, I'm looking at your website. We're just checking it out. Looks like you're at mobilermm.com, but you're also notifycorp.com. Both.
We did both because we're Notify first, then we coined mobile
Yeah.
RMM. So either one of them gets you to our, either one of them gets you to the website.
So be sure to check out the website. But one thing I did see on there is it says serving the entire U.S. So you don't do any international clients.
We do. Yeah, that probably need to be updated. We actually, our original focus was domestic, but we actually have several partners in the UK now, and have had leads come in from a variety of places. But we
Nice.
figured, let's do the domestic place right. Let's do it. Let's get our handle on that, and then go out. But so we haven't been doing any outbound marketing in Europe.
Okay. Cool.
The leads that come in we'll handle. Yeah.
Fantastic. So, yeah, I mean, this has been great. It's been fantastic. But let's shift into, tell me a fun fact about yourself.
Well, being from the West Coast, one fun fact is I love wine. I love wine. I love
Napa.
Sonoma. I love Napa. I mean, I try to, amass as much wine. We're a big cab family, so I've got a bunch of cabs here sitting on the shelf, waiting to mature.
Yeah, being from Silicon Valley area, you kind of know. I mean, there's kind of two wine areas in California. They're all over, but it's Paso Robles and Napa, and they're both some really, really amazing wines in each of those areas. So that's awesome. But I believe there was one more fun fact that you had.
I did. I put that on there to fun. So I was in the Army. I'm not going to tell you when, but I volunteered for Airborne and got assigned to the 82nd Airborne Division. So I was a paratrooper at Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
That's where you get it from. So Sean's got that little blood too. I think he's in Army, and I think potentially the
Yes.
82nd as well.
I was 82nd Airborne.
You were 82nd Airborne.
I was 82nd Airborne.
Well, you and I will have to talk about that.
Absolutely, and it just coincidentally, I'm at the CompTIA conference, right? And yesterday I met a gentleman, and he was in the Army, and he said, I went airborne, but I'm actually a leg. And I was like, he said, he jumped for his training. They had him do the training jumps. He never jumped again. So he's like, I'm a leg. And I was like, yeah, you're a leg, dude. You're a leg. You got to keep that up. You got to maintain. So Adam, what that means is if anybody doesn't go airborne and isn't jumping out of planes, we call them legs. And it's an insult because they just aren't man enough they weren't tough enough to go into the airborne.
So do you call people who don't go in the Navy Finns?
That's so stupid.
I'm just saying, just throwing it out there.
I went to jump school at Fort Benning, and actually went back there about 10 years ago, and it was really interesting, the perspective of being much older, looking at the training area. But you'll never forget the 250-foot towers that are there. They're still there.
I have no doubt.
They are still there.
That is the true moment of reckoning.
It is, my friend. It
is. When you realize what you're about to do.
Yeah. It was really funny that even the 16-foot tower, they started you off on a wall. You jumped from the wall, then you went to the 16-foot tower. So you look up and you say, 16 feet, that's not too bad. It's really funny when you get up there and looking at 16 feet and looking down. It's like, oh, that's a lot higher than I thought it was.
It absolutely is.
Oh, my
and that's
God.
Again when you.
Actually, one last fun story on that one. Probably the most scary thing in that realm was night jumping.
Yeah.
Jumping at night.
Yes.
And I swear to God, there's 50 of us in a plane, and you could hear normally during the day, everybody chattering, laughing, joking, booming, no problem jumping out during the day. But at night, I mean, you could almost hear a pin drop in that plane on that night jump. I looked out there, and it's like all of a sudden you're losing perspective on where you're at and what you're at. Thank God there was a red beacon down on the ground to kind of help it, because if it's really dark with no moon, you can't even see the tree line.
You can't see anything. You can't see the DZ. Yeah. Like I remember jumping onto the Normandy DZ.
Right.
And the driver, but they give a lot of the not Normandy. Well, the name is Normandy. So the one thing about Fort Bragg. One thing about Fort Bragg is there is most of the names are from the World War II era. So like I lived right off of Ardennes, by the mini PX that was there, a few blocks from Smoke Bomb Hill.
Yeah.
So the DZ is called Normandy is one of them. There's several of them. They're huge.
I was beginning to think you were Captain America.
Right.
Well, I've been accused of a thing time or two.
With that red, white, blue suit you got on in your picture.
If you didn't land
I don't think he wore that, Adam.
So anyway, all right, Paul, really awesome. Really love hearing about the new products. Great job developing a really useful tool, mobile RMM integrated with ConnectWise in the finance module as well, which is awesome, fantastic. Be sure and check out the website. I posted in the comments and had it up during this show. Really, also just thank you for your service, and Sean, you as well. Both. It's kind of cool hearing two big guys talk about their history in the 80s. I don't know.
I had no idea. Unbelievable. So, they want to change the name of Fort Bragg, I heard. I mean, that was
really.
God. They don't want. They don't want to.
Closing thoughts.
I don't know.
Any closing thoughts, Paul, other than the military, about last words for the audience?
Was that a question to me? All right.
Yes. Any last words, Paul?
Oh no. Listen. I want to it's been exciting to work on PitchIT group. They're all great vendors out there. We're excited to get to know some of them. May turn out to be some partnerships and working with them. I want to thank you, Sean, Adam, Louie, Andrea. You guys have been great. You've been trying to do the best you can on this. I think it's going to evolve into something really awesome over time. And you guys are pioneers in this. It's a great idea. We need help. We need it, as I said the other day. We've dedicated ourselves here into this ConnectWise universe, and we just need to get more people to meet more MSPs, get them to come to us, so that we can stay in business and grow our business.
Absolutely. No, we appreciate that.
Thank you, and thank you for having me, Adam. It's a pleasure. I've followed your group for the last couple years. You've done an amazing job. Focusing on the ConnectWise, and I think you've got the respect of the whole market out there that's following you. You've got a bunch of good followers out there from the Facebook stuff that we see. So
thank you for that.
You bet. Thanks.
Awesome. Sean.
Yes. I mean, simply put, I like to always recap what I hear people say, and to sum it up, we know that the audience for mobile has grown exponentially year over year. The need for mobile device management is already happening regardless. Employers have been doing cell phones for their employees for the last, decade, probably, maybe more, right? So that's already case in point right there. But so the need to be able to monitor these devices is extremely important. That to me is amazing because, again, being that I've been in sales for as long as I have, and as much as I travel, I have several mobile devices I take with me every time I go somewhere, and I'm one of millions of us that do this. So it's pretty important. It's a business continuity thing at the end of the day. It really is. If you don't have this, there's no business continuity.
And with with everybody working at home now, it's something that companies need to really take a little bit more seriously, because they've got their laptops, desktops pretty much under control. They're not doing anything with mobile. Definitely an area.
I mean, look at me right now. I'm on my laptop and I can't get the camera to work. So there you have it. There you have it. And this happens, and when people do business on the road a great deal, it's not going back to your point. It's not like you can stop generating revenue because your phone doesn't work all of a sudden because something stupid you did.
Or secure, don't lose it. What happens if you lose it or misplace it?
Exactly.
Right? Things like
exactly. That. So I love the concept. I do. I think it's important that I hope people pay attention to this, because this isn't going to stop.
Yeah.
We're becoming more mobile. We're working from there's already hybrid work environments, so it's kind of a big deal. But thank you, Paul. I appreciate you sharing this.
Yeah, pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean. Co-commander. I just came up with that term today.
So, partner in the 82nd.
And Paul, I appreciate it. It's been really, really awesome. Get to know your product and so forth. And Sean co-hosting this, and I'm definitely continuing looking forward to this. And if you have any questions about what we have today, what we've gone over today, just post in the comments. We'll be sure and reply. And obviously, Paul, you're involved in the social media communities. You can catch us on ConnectWise Boss Facebook community, as well as ConnectWise Tips and Tricks Facebook community, as well as on LinkedIn and YouTube. So just definitely check us out on there, and post some comments. And look forward to next week, where we're going to be together next week, Sean. So
yes, we will be.
This is going to go. We're going to have some it, and yeah, it'll be exciting. So Denver, and I think it's our last two shows. Is that right?
I don't even know at this point. Maybe yes. Who knows? I hate to see it end.
So we have lots of stuff to do. So awesome. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Check us out. Talk to you later.
Take care.
Wow.
Bye.